What's up, Kansas City? This is Lonnie Powell Presents, sponsored by Cascade Media Group. And today we have with us a very distinguished artist in this town, which is what Lonnie Powell Presents attempts to do. We're trying to introduce Kansas City to its artists. And I've heard people say that there are no artists in Kansas City, and I beg to differ with them that there are extremely great artists in Kansas City, and today we have with us one of the great ones.
Please.
I'm not going to run down his whole history and everything, but for one thing, he is a member of the National Watercolor Society, which is a national organization, probably international, because it gets competition from all over the world. So Mr. Dixon is a watercolor artist.
Exactly.
He makes that very clear that watercolor is his medium. Watercolor is probably one of the hardest mediums to really control, and I think Mr. Dixon has not only controlled that medium, but he has written a book on it.
Yes.
And so in order to help other artists, young artists and old artists alike. But before we get into your book, I must ask, what makes you want to paint in the first place?
Well, there's several reasons to paint for me, and one, usually when I go to a museum, when I go online and see other artists' work, many things that inspires me to paint. And once I get inspired, and once I get started, there's no stopping me. And I can take just as long for a dry period too, you know.
Right.
Because you need that break to get away from your art. But I've even been inspired by kids and what they do. And I say, well, hey, if this child can do this, let me get back to painting.
Oh, you're talking about the kids' artwork.
Kids' artwork.
Right.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I have my son's piece of artwork on the wall downstairs, and every once in a while I'll look up at it and be inspired to paint. But there are many different things that will, I'll look at and say, well, it's time to paint. And it keeps me going.
Yeah. Who are some of your inspirations, artists that have, made a difference in your life?
Well, there is John Singer Sargent, who's my favorite.
Okay.
He's my favorite. He's gifted at painting oils, but his watercolors, I think, are quite exceptional. And I don't know of anyone that can paint watercolors like him. I also like Homer.
Yeah.
He has exceptional watercolors, but I always go back to John Singer Sargent.
Okay.
And every once in fact, I have downloaded a lot of his watercolor paintings on my computer and use them as background painting. They change every 15 minutes, so that keeps me inspired too.
Right. I love the medium of watercolor too, and I want to interject that when I retired from teaching, my first goal was to really good at watercolors. And Henry and Dean Mitchell and Leroy Allen were three of the greatest watercolor artists that I had ever seen. And they all lived right here in Kansas City. And so I kept trying to enter the National Watercolor Society and getting rejected and rejected and rejected. And finally Leroy Allen, the late Leroy Allen, looked at one of my pieces. He said, "Oh, you're ready now."
In fact, I told you the same thing.
And you told me the same thing.
Yeah.
And it was the inspiration of the other artists that kept me going after all of those rejections. So let's just take an example and look at one of your pieces here. And by the way, I lean more toward Homer.
Okay. Hey, we all have our
Yeah. But I love Sargent too.
Yeah.
I'm not, it's this. You know, it's just a little bit.
Also, another watercolor artist that he's not typically watercolor artist, but one I really admired is Wyatt.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he does some gorgeous watercolors. So I've admired his work too.
Let's look at that young lady there in the corner.
Yes. This young lady, we went out to San Diego. I guess it was about 13 years ago for Reggie's, my middle son's wedding. And then we decided, well, let's take a trip to the San Diego Zoo. So I took my camera along, and I usually take my camera wherever I go, because it's, as far as painting, it's my best friend.
Right.
Because I can pretty much capture those images that I want to paint. So I saw this little girl sitting on this. I guess it was a table. It had like a bench type eating table where people take breaks and eat lunch or whatever. So I saw her. I said, "Wow, this is a good subject." So I took a picture. Of course, I've asked her if I could take a picture. She said, "Yeah." And then she got up and she started walking, kind of walking away, and that's when I got this shot.
Right.
And I enjoyed painting it. What the part that was most challenging was her braided hair.
Oh yeah.
Very challenging.
Right.
But I enjoy challenges.
And it's a lot of times that, well, from this distance, that hair is just a suggestion and a series of lights and darks, and you have to really, and you don't need to get up on it to see the little details and everything. And that's what's so, and the way you've done the eyes with the sun and the shadows.
And painting shadows is one of my favorite parts of painting. It introduces a lot of dramatics, and I'm for dramatics, and especially
and I like
painting,
the way you paint shadows, and then you paint inside the shadows and everything. When you really get to look at it, I love that piece that I own of yours.
Well, thank you.
And,
thank you.
I really admire your art. I don't call it work. I call it art.
Thank you. At times I call it work.
Yeah, well, nobody sees the work. But yes, there is some work in it. Tell us a little bit about your book.
Well, the title, first of all, is Paint Amazing Watercolors from Photographs. And that's basically what I do. First of all, I've always wanted to do a book. And I got the chance to do a book when I started entering a lot of national competitions. And fortunately for me, most of those competitions were put on by F&W Publications, which is now, they call themselves FW Media. And I started, my work appeared in a lot of their publications. So they offered me a chance to get published by them. And so I said, wow, this is what I've been looking for.
Right.
So they sent me all the information that I needed to get started. And once I sent that back, and the rest was history.
Yeah.
The rest was history. Yes. Yeah. At one time, for several months, it was bestseller.
Okay.
Which, it was like walking on cloud 15.
I'm getting ready to give my copy to my son.
Okay.
He's trying to be an artist now.
Is he considering watercolor?
No, but I'm going to get him to consider it. Yeah. Well, Henry, what else would you like the public to know about you, your beloved Kansas City? What should they know about you?
Well,
how can they contact you in case they want to come in and buy all of your artwork?
Okay, there's several ways you can contact me. First of all, I would encourage you to visit my website, which is www.henrywdixon.com. If you leave the W out, you won't get it. So make sure you put the henrywdixon.com. Another way is through my phone number, my house phone, which I usually answer most of the times. Is 816-966-1830. You can also reach me through my email address, which is WDIX5, as in 5, at hotmail.com. Pretty simple, WDIX5 at hotmail.com.
Now, is that information on your website also?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
All of that information is also on my website.
Okay. Let's see. I had some notes here. Before you go, I've noticed that, and I can't see any examples here, but I know that you do some great landscapes and watercolors.
Well,
and
yeah.
still lifes
Yeah.
that have no people in them at all.
I enjoy painting landscapes, pretty much like Grand Canyon, Bryce Canyon, all those rocky type terrains.
Right.
Just love it because of all the colors.
Yeah.
Gorgeous colors.
And rocks are not easy.
No, it's not. But I kept painting, and somebody one day said, "Oh, have you ever been out to the Grand Canyon?" I said, "Well, no." They said, "You should go."
Yeah.
So my wife and I decided for vacation one year that we would travel out to the Grand Canyon, and boy,
Yeah.
I preached to everybody should go out there. So I obtained a number photograph that I could work from, and actually all of my Grand Canyon paintings has actually been sold.
Yeah.
Yes, and several have won awards, and I just love painting the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
My
that's
favorite.
good. And that's good considering that it seems like art is moving away from the figure
Yes.
so much. A lot of abstracts and free expression kind of things are happening now.
I tried abstract and watercolor once, For me, it didn't work.
Well, it hasn't worked yet.
No, I don't believe it. That for several artists who lives in New York, it has, because that's what they had to rely on, which that's is one of the main images in New York is abstracts.
Right.
So if you're a watercolor artist in New York, then you pretty much have to learn to paint abstracts in watercolor.
Right.
So.
Well, I have really enjoyed this, and
So
we're going to wind this up now. And once again, thank you. And this has been Lonnie Powell Presents. And I'd like to urge you to watch other videos on What's Up Kansas City. And you can find that at www.whatsupkansascity.net. Thank you.
Always remember, the victory we call success goes to the best prepared. When you invest in your community, you are really just investing in yourself. Thanks.